Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, Pakistan. This is again an exclusive with some of the world's top investigative reporting that we've seen in recent times, especially related to Pakistan. And this is with our wonderful, great, brave soldier of truth, Murtaza Hussain, formerly of The Intercept, now with DropSite. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Murtaza, and welcome to the program, sir.
Welcome, Salam. Thank you for having me again, Heather.
Thank you, Murtaza. Murtaza, you and Ryan seem to have shaken the, the entire Pakistani fascist, I don't know what to call them, to the core. I mean, I have never seen such a reaction that has happened in recent times. Other than when Imran says Asim Munir is responsible for everything, and then everyone can. Other than that, I think you guys have just and this relates to this very ongoing, and I would perhaps imagine an unfolding story in which you and Ryan have, by the way, you carry the lead with Murtaza Hussain and Ryan Grimm, of the secret Pakistani program which directs military officers to attack social media critics and digital terrorists like me. And we've been officially termed digital terrorists, myself and others.
Yeah.
So, Murtaza, before I go into the details of this, help us understand how it happened, what happened, how did you get hold of this, how long have you been working on this till you felt that this was sufficiently strong to be published? Yes, Murtaza.
Yeah, well, as we say in the story, basically we were reached out to by a source who was working on this program called the Army Agahi program, or the Army
Agahi
Network, or Army Awareness Network, you could say.
Yes.
And effectively, he was someone involved in the program and very dissatisfied with being tasked by superiors to do what he was doing. And what he was doing, and what thousands of others in the Pakistani military are being tasked to do, you could say field officers in the Pakistani military being tasked to post online, to post things in favor of the Pakistani military against the perceived political enemies of the Pakistani military and the current general, Asim Munir, and effectively, become trolls for the military in their ongoing political involvements, which is against the oath of a military officer in Pakistan. They have to take an oath to respect the constitution of the country, which orders them to stay out of politics. Which, in that violation of the oath, a lot of people in the Pakistani military are very patriotic, and they take that oath very, very seriously. So the violation of it, to get involved in politics, to start attacking judges, politicians, journalists, activists, to post under false names and so forth, that's very upsetting to a lot of patriotic members of the Pakistani military. And secondly, it's a distraction from what they should be doing, which is defending the country, defending it from internal enemies, insurgencies, from external enemies like India or the Afghan Taliban or whatever it may be. It's really not an effective use of their time and resources. If you're a trained military officer to be assigned to posting and things like this on social media, fighting with people, fighting with the very popular political party also as well too, that everyone knows has a very broad range of support, did well in the election, that is something which is disillusioning to many professional officers. And there are many professional, very forthright and conscientious officers who do serve in the Pakistani military. And to be tasked with, thousands of them being part of this Agahi network, certainly raised alarms and raised some concerns among them.
So, and if I may, I don't want you to kind of put your source at risk, of course not. When were you first made aware of this, and how long did it take you to investigate? You said that we've shared it with social media experts to assess the veracity of this data and information, if I am reading from your code correctly, and then and you're saying we're not publishing the data in order to protect the source. An expert in social media analysis reviewed a collection of posts made by officers to help evaluate their authenticity. Can you tell us a little more about this, if you can, please?
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time to publish a story like this. We have to make sure that the information is valid, that the information, it can be vetted by an outside source. We have to take, several steps editorially to do this. And, one thing that I should point out is that, we used to publish these stories in The Intercept, and The Intercept became very famous among Pakistanis and other people for its coverage of this stuff. The reason it's published in DropSite, I think Ryan Grimm was on your show recently, he explained the new site and so forth. It's because we left The Intercept because there's big problems at The Intercept. The new management has taken over the company, and they've kind of made it hard to publish real stories anymore. So we launched DropSite specifically so we can continue doing not just Pakistan reporting about many, many things, but Gaza, about U.S. politics and so forth. And that's why it's in DropSite at the moment. But it's all of these things added to the time it took to actually execute the story, which is a very complex and difficult story in many ways.
So the interesting thing that I find in the story are two things. One are direct quotes from military officers, and I'm just going to read them out because these are interesting. And the other is the lack of response from ISPR formally, but how the response come, and that's going to be the next segment. So it says, we'll be given instructions by our superiors to spread political posts despite knowing that this is a violation of our oath of office and the Constitution, which you mentioned. People are being made to post against members of the judiciary and civil society. We are becoming involved in political fights that are harming the army's image. Now, my question is, did you hear this firsthand, or was this communicated to you by the source, or was this the person narrating his or her own anguish to you directly?
It's something that the source communicated to us, and it was not intermediated in any way or in any sense represented someone's narrativization of it.
It was not intermediated. Okay.
No, it was a direct communication that was conveyed on the part of the source, reflecting their sentiments. And effectively, so that's what they said. And that's just something that they wanted people to know, their motivations for doing it, because they want people to know that they're patriotic, that they support, in fact, the institution of the Pakistani military, and believe in the stated mission of the Pakistani military to defend Pakistan, to uphold the Constitution. And they were upset that the organization was, as they saw it, veering away from that mission, with the Army Agahi network being just only one of the most galling examples of what's been taking place there at the moment.
So and then the second piece, where the military's press attaché office, sorry, I'm reading from your report, the military's press office did not respond to a request for comment at the time of publication. Were they given enough time and to read the report, or and then they chose not to respond?
Well, we didn't send them the report beforehand. We just only simply sent them the fact that we were covering the existence of the program and asked them if they'd like to comment about it. They had enough time to comment. We don't give too many hours, too many days before, because it's an issue with security and so forth to do that. But there were several hours before, and then they declined, or they didn't respond even after the story came out. So such as that. And the thing is, I'm not surprised, because they never really respond to our requests. We invite them to comment on all our stories, but they don't really.
So one of this the media management, media handling is so pathetic within the Pakistani Army, ISPR. It would have been far better for them to have engaged with you, stalled you, told them, yes, we're going to come back with a very holistic response. Maybe told you to wait for 24 hours, 48 hours. I'm going to give you an exclusive one-on-one off the record conversation, Murtaza. So, but these guys have zero sense. Anyway, I'm not going to get into their media. I'm glad they're stupid and idiots. So, but here's where the response came from. Now, this is a gentleman called Ahmad Hassan Bani or Dani or something. he apparently made this threat against you. I don't know if he's a military officer or was a former military officer, is a current military officer working undercover as a so-called defense analyst and strategist. But the way he speaks and he marshals his English and his accent has all the hallmarks of someone who didn't learn English when they were at school, but learned it pretty late in life, especially in the PMA and subsequently in the army, because the kind of language, words, phrases, by the way, are very military. And he and he calls both of you, and Ryan and Grimm will be prosecuted. So he doesn't. I mean, these guys have been given a script. Anyway, let's hear what he says.
In this short video, we will uncover a controversial report that has sparked significant debate. We'll discuss the story of Ryan Grimm and Murtaza Hussain, their latest allegations and the potential legal ramifications they are going to face. Ryan Grimm and Murtaza Hussain, formerly associated with The Intercept, recently published an article claiming that they have secret information that the Pakistani army has instructed its officers to target judges and political activists of Imran Khan on social media. But interestingly, there's a lot more to this story. Both Grimm and Hussain have faced serious criticism for their connections with Indian journalists, and their previous work is believed to be against Pakistan. Their articles often reference secret documents they refuse to publish, casting serious doubts on their credibility. In an attempt to continue their controversial reporting, Grimm and Hussain have launched a new platform, DropSite. Yet the question lingers: can they substantiate their outrageous claim with concrete evidence or not? Now, as per the reports and sources, Pakistani communities in Washington, D.C. and New York are preparing to file defamation lawsuits against Grimm and Rea. These cases echo significant defamation trials such as Balzac versus Puerto Rico, Barham versus New York Post, Barnes versus Roosevelt Libel trial, Barrett versus Rosenthal. Now, defamation requires proving four critical elements: a false statement presented as a fact, publication of that statement to a third party, fault amounting to at least negligence, and damages to the reputation of the individual or the entity involved. All these four elements appear to be present if the cases are filed against Ryan Grimm and Murtaza Hussain. The heart of these cases will be the alleged secret documents. In court, Ryan and Hussain will need to produce these documents or face legal consequences for their unsubstantiated claims. As these legal battles unfold, the credibility and future of Grimm and Hussein's journalistic careers hang in the balance. Will they provide the evidence needed to back their claims, or will they meet the same fate as Alex Jones?
Wow, wow, wow. So, Mr. Murtaza Hussain, your career is in serious jeopardy.
Well, this is the thing. What clearly the implication of the statement is they want us to produce the information that would allow them to track down our sources and cause great harm to them, which we would never do in a million years. We wouldn't do that even for sources in the American government, which have leaked us things, and we have in the past, and other governments, Iran, Iraq, other places, India, who've leaked us things from internally. We would never do that because it's a very life and death matter in many ways, and no court will compel us to do such a thing either. If people would like to file lawsuits against us, there's significant consequences for filing frivolous lawsuits or what's called slap lawsuits, lawsuits aimed at basically antagonizing news organizations and journalists to try to intimidate them out of reporting. There's significant laws in place against that in the United States, which would certainly be employed in this case to any entity or any individual who tried to engage in legal threats against us over our coverage. It's our job to do journalistic coverage. So, I'll leave it in other people's court, but it's not something which concerns us particularly. And we're going to continue reporting on this subject in Pakistan and other subjects as well, too, and without fear or favor towards anyone.
But so the other, these guys are really, really stupid. Honestly, if they had kept quiet, this probably would have died away, in some form or shape. But because they've now made this into a big deal, I'm going to the court. They've actually shot themselves in the foot, which they always do. I'm talking about Asim Munir, the army general. They're stupid. They're idiots. The other person that they launched to threaten you guys is a person who is perhaps the most hated journalist. I won't even call him a journalist. He's just a carpetbagger, an attention seeker. He says the most outrageous things to get attention. He actually wanted a parliamentary party ticket from PTI, was refused in 2018, and then in a huff turned against Imran. His name is Hassan Ayub. He actually says, we're going to, and I don't want to repeat him because it's absolute nonsense, but what he essentially says, we're going to be suing you in courts, but we'll also offer you some kind of an amnesty if you're willing to do that. What do you make of that? What's this amnesty about?
I don't know. We could probably maybe stop covering Pakistan or stop covering. Well, this is the thing. We didn't launch The Intercept and we didn't launch DropSite News to cover Pakistan or to involve ourselves in Pakistani politics or to take a side or antagonize anyone in Pakistan. That's not the goal of these organizations. That's not the overwhelming majority of output of these organizations. So, but we're not going to not cover it if we have information. That's our job to do that. And this is a free country. There's strong journalistic and free speech protections, which allow us to do that. And, it's really a problem on their side. They have internal unhappiness and dissent inside Pakistan, inside the Pakistani military, inside the Pakistani intelligence establishment, because people don't like what's going on there. And if you shut down all the journalistic outlets in Pakistan, which they sort of have, you've intimidated journalists and done all these very extreme, sometimes very barbaric acts to enforce that, the world is still very connected. And there's a whole world of people they can talk to. They can talk to journalists all over America or all over Canada or Australia or England or France or, many other countries that have relatively robust free speech protections. And that's the problem. It's not a demand side issue on our side, it's a supply side issue on their side. There's a huge supply of disgruntled people in all these institutions, all throughout Pakistan as well. And they are very motivated to talk about these things that are going on. And this is a country of 250 million people. You can't suppress all of them. You can't treat it like Syria or Iraq or something like that, pre-2003 Iraq or something like that, where it's a complete police state and not a single person can say a word. It's very difficult to do with a country of 250 million people that does have a tradition of actually a free press and such things. So, I think it's very foolish. And I don't think any legal threats will be very efficacious really to stop this. And even if it did work, it wouldn't accomplish much because people would just give it to another journalist or another news outlet, of which there are many who'd be willing and eager to cover this subject because it's newsworthy. It's newsworthy to Americans, newsworthy to Pakistanis. And that's the reason. If they want to stop these leaks, they should change what they're doing inside Pakistan, in my opinion.
So, Murtaza, there are two sides to this. One is that I've been a personal victim of this Agahi, Army Agahi network or Army, what do you call it? Awareness.
Yeah.
When Bajwa, it started then in those days because a lot of veteran officers retired who were his coursemates, friends, they started to target me under, hidden personas. It became very significant subsequently. I was made into a Shia officer, buying Shia officer loyalties in Quetta, distributing money, and I was arrested, and I wasn't even in Pakistan, I was here. So this has been going on for several years, but the way it has been orchestrated and organized now has never been done before. And I was made aware of this many months ago that this is going on, and I was shown letters. You probably have seen them. Document, create this, do that, do this, very decentralized so no one would catch them. But the biggest evidence that it exists is the response that your story got in social media. Now, I'm just posting, somebody from redwish.com says you only have to look at the replies on Asim Hussein's tweet to see AAN in action. Literally hundreds, if not thousands of accounts mostly female personas. By the way, they're all phone. And the people who would attack me, Murtaza, because I have a Shia name, Sayyid Hyder Ahmadi, and I come from a Shia family, most of my attackers were Shia women with Shia women name, like Sayyida Shahbano Jafri, Sadaf Jafri, Maliha Rizvi, Fatima Hussain, that kind of stuff. So telling the people, oh, look, the Shia community is against Hyder Mehdi. And all with blue ticks, by the way, which taxpayers are paying for because it comes from the ISPR, responding in unison with an identical. So even their narrative is identical. And I'm just going to flash it for a few seconds so people can just see how this is completely false, this is completely false, this is completely false, nothing, the exact same messages, I don't know, bots or Major Hyder Mehdi, hiding behind Dr. Sadaf Rizvi or somebody doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, what's up?
I noticed a lot of the accounts in Urdu, they were using, accusing me of all types of things, of being a raw agent. They're using religious slurs. They're calling me, telling me I'm a Qadiani or Ahmadi, all these things. Which
that's the standard, huh? That's standard.
Pakistan is a very, it's considered very insulting. So, this is like the things they were saying in anti-Semitic things were being said about the DropSite news and all these things. It's very telling. It's very sort of crude. And I would say that these attacks show that there's really nothing to say. The allegations are true. They're just trying to throw everything they can at the wall to see what sticks, so to speak. So
welcome to the club, Murtaza. I mean, you've been on the sideline. Now you face the heat. I mean, I've been a raw agent, a CIA agent, a Canadian agent, an MI5 agent. I'm an Indian. I'm a hidden Hindu. I'm also a Qadiani. I'm an Iranian agent. God knows how many hats I'm wearing.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to end and seek your insight more about this report. So how, I know you guys really stress test the validity. How sure are you about the authenticity of the details that you've disclosed in this report and the authenticity of your source?
Yeah, we feel bulletproof about it. The reason is we have a very reliable source who information we were able to not just vet, but have third-party vetting to ensure the veracity of. But I also think that the second thing which has given us great confidence is the reaction from the Pakistani government, Pakistani military to the story. If the story was not true, it would be very easy for them to disprove it, or their behavior their comportment could indicate, you could say, a sense of ease about the whole situation. Not only have they had a meltdown, you could say, about it, they've actually deployed the Army Agahi network to attack us. Just as you showed, all those bots and all these accounts are now focused on spreading this very systematic campaign against us. So you can just watch it in action right there. It's very, very obvious what's going on. You can look at those accounts, all those accounts of those people with blue checks, these women and so forth. So look at their tweets, look at the posts. They're just posting the same things over again. They're sharing each other's posts. We had the accounts mapped to show the linkages between them, to do a forensic analysis, you could say, and they show the high confidence these are inauthentic accounts. This whole network is inauthentic, effectively. And you know what? I will say that, okay, other countries also have troll farms. India has disinformation lab. Russia has troll farms. America has disinformation that it does. It's not the issue that Pakistan necessarily shouldn't have some sort of corresponding digital footprint for its own national interest. The issue is it's being deployed against their own citizens. Disinformation lab is being deployed against foreign enemies and things like that, foreign countries to shape the narrative. This is being used to intimidate, to mess with the judiciary of Pakistan, to intimidate judges, doxing their information, really threatening stuff. That's what's wrong. They're using taxpayer money to attack Pakistani taxpayers.
Excellent. So just to conclude, I wanted to please tell us again a little bit about DropSite. But by the way, it's a curious question. I don't know who selected this picture and for what purpose, because this is Zahirul Islam. He was the DGISI in 14. He's a year junior to me in the army. I know him and his family very well. Two of his brothers were in my unit, 15 Punjab. He's a decent fellow. Poor chap's here, and he's probably going to get all the flack.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't aimed at him particularly. It was more aimed.
I know it
for
wasn't.
example of the ISI public relations.
I know, because it says Pakistan loves ISI. I guess that's what caught your eye.
That's right. Yeah. It wasn't about him personally.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the DropSite news, and what is it? Why? I know Ryan shared it, but help us understand. I know you've recently joined, and how can Pakistanis help you and support you in doing this wonderful work you're doing?
So DropSite News is a new website we've launched to continue doing the coverage we used to do with The Intercept. So, a lot of people came to support The Intercept because of our coverage of Pakistan over the past year. All that coverage will have happened at DropSite going forward. So we really do ask, for all our many, many Pakistani supporters, please support DropSite, because that's exactly where we went to, continue doing what we can no longer do with The Intercept. And, I can speak freely about the situation. Effectively, The Intercept, unfortunately, was recently, taken over by basically a corporate coup to take it over from its current, proper editorial control. It's being run by people who don't know anything about journalism. They've made it such that we can't, in good conscience, work there. And, in my view, people's money going there is wasted. I would say it's going to pay corporate salaries and other things. So all we need really is just support at the DropSite. We can do all the same reporting because we have myself, we have Ryan, we have Jeremy Scahill, we have Naska Renner, who's an excellent editor. We have all the resources, all the knowledge we need. A much leaner organization, a much more nimble organization, purely focused on journalism. No corporate control, no corporate overhead and things like that. So, I really, really strongly would, if anyone has a capacity, subscribe to it. And if you can become a contributing member financially, that would help a lot. And, it doesn't take a lot, but a lot of people giving a small amount would allow us to do a lot of reporting for many, many years to come. So, yeah, I usually don't ask for public support like that, but,
No, you should. You should. I tell you, I was at a meeting earlier this morning, and there was this lady who used to work for a charity and asking for money. She said the most difficult job in the world is to ask for money to support you and not give any. And she said, that's where I learned my business. She's a very successful business person.
Wow.
So the become a source is important because you need a lot of validated information from Pakistan. And I want people to please look at this. When you see the program, I will put these emails there as well, the numbers there. And just to make sure, don't use a work computer, don't Google how do I leak. So that's one. So what else? Ways to give. Okay, ways to give. What can people do? They can donate.
You can send donations. Well, the easiest way, I think, is to become a subscriber.
Like I am.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, by the way. I can see if the top is I really do appreciate it. So we have about 4,700 subscribers already after launching less than a month ago. The more we can have, the better. We have over 200,000 mailing list members as well, too. That's been great to have that support. But yeah, if for anyone who can become a subscriber, you can become a monthly subscriber, a yearly subscriber, whatever it is. But I can really guarantee you that it's going to produce a lot of. You'll know every dollar is going to journalism because there's no overhead, there's no office, there's none of that stuff that a lot of organizations or nonprofits use. Everything's going to journalism. It's a nonprofit. If you're in the U.S., you can deduct it from your taxes, all of that. So yeah, that's basically it. It's going to pay for us to do more coverage of Pakistan, more coverage of Gaza, and more coverage of Yemen and a lot of other places for many, many years to come.
And it's really interesting that you mentioned that one particular account is that has been targeting Babar Sattar. So the linkages between those who are attacking you and the people who are attacked Babar Sattar are the same. So clearly it's an army-driven stuff. Amazing. They've messed with the wrong people, Ryan, Murtaza. By the way, this other fellow, this idiot Hassan Ayub, he would keep calling Ryan. That earlier fellow said Ryan. This guy used to call him Brian. they're absolute duffers. The duffer is the word for them. So I just want to show something that Ryan had said, and he said, you can support us here. Okay. And this is about supporting support DropSite. Ladies and gentlemen who will be listening to this program, please, for the sake of transparency, I have nothing to do with DropSite. They don't pay me any money. I have no commercial relationship with them. And this is, I will post the link. This is how to support DropSite on the plight of democracy and human rights in Pakistan. They have a fundraiser link. You can do a $20 donation. You can do a $50. Okay, these are the people who've made donations. Okay. Anonymous, Qaid-e-Azam, etc. Okay, you've reached a lot of 3% of your goal. Please support them. Ryan, Murtaza, last words on that, and then we close. Thank you.
That's all I got. We'll have more stories to come, and thank you so much for everyone who tuned in to watch, everyone read the article, and all those who supported. Really can't do without you. So, and thank you, Heather, for having me on. Always pleasure.
Murtaza, it's always a pleasure. You've hit this. What do they say? Hit it out of the park. You hit this literally out of the park. I mean, anyone who hasn't heard of DropSite in Pakistan is certainly about DropSite. I hope they support you, and inshallah they will. These idiots in uniform, Asim Munir and his goons, they are the most stupid idiot. I'm glad they're stupid, because hadn't they been stupid, they wouldn't have done this, what they're doing. Thank you very much again, and we look forward to having you soon again, Murtaza. My best to you and to Ryan and to your wonderful jihad against fascism and for freedom, for democracy, for fundamental rights everywhere in the world, especially Pakistan. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Pakistan Zindabad, Pakistan Paindabad, Ilahi Ameen. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz, Murtaza.
Wa alaikum salam. Khuda Hafiz. Thank you.